Hey there, my name's Curtis. This is my channel, Empire Building. Welcome back to another episode. In my last episode, I talked about Tesla short sellers and how, despite the media misrepresenting the data, the short interest has been in steady decline ever since June, when Tesla stock plunged to a 3-year low in the price. Since then, the number of shares short has decreased by 40%. Having said that, it still means that 15% of the total number of shares have been sold short. It begs the question, who are these short sellers? How much money have they lost over the years? How can they afford to hold these positions with mounting losses? And most importantly, why are they shorting Tesla? One of the biggest issues that I have with short selling is that hedge funds who participate in it are not required to disclose these positions to the SEC or the public like they are with long positions. If you want to know who owns Tesla stock and how much, when they buy more or when they sell, you can always find that information. But when shorting a stock, they are under no obligation to disclose anything. Because of this, gathering information on who is shorting Tesla is a daunting data mining exercise. The only entities that we know about are the ones that have come out in public to volunteer information about their short positions. But even then, it's often cryptic and unclear.
So we're shorted stock here. Yeah, we're short Tesla via outright stock, and we own long-dated puts and some short-dated puts. And it's a 7-figure dollar amount of stock that we're short.
What we do know is that short sellers have collectively lost $11.44 billion since 2016 shorting Tesla stock. We also know that currently the dollar value of the short position on Tesla stock is around $14 billion. In my last video, I mentioned how these short sellers are a different breed. I'm going to read into the tea leaves just for a moment here. While these public short sellers have been very vocal about their positions, they have not given us much to go on with regards to the size of their positions. In some cases, as with the case of Mark Spiegel, he has disclosed in letters to his shareholders that he has been progressively covering and reducing his exposure to his Tesla short over the years from 25% of the fund now to just 10% as of December 2019. He is still just as vocal as ever, but he seems to be throwing in the towel, at least somewhat. All the same, it begs the question why so many people are content to lose money year after year shorting this stock. In many cases, I think that they fully believe the convictions that they have about Tesla and its stock. But remember that these people are managing other people's money. Why would you continue to invest in something that fails to produce results year after year, unless you consider the possibility that $11.44 billion is just a small drop in the bucket compared to what Tesla stands to disrupt with its technology and its mission to get the world off fossil fuels for transportation and energy. Last year, the oil and gas sector turned in revenues of over $4 trillion, while the automotive sector turned in almost $3 trillion. They know that eventually this gravy train will come to an end. But every year that they can postpone that is trillions more they can profit from. And maybe, just maybe, they will even be able to stop it from happening altogether. Ask yourself this: if not for Tesla, would there be any electric vehicles available today at all? If you haven't seen the documentary Who Killed the Electric Car, I highly recommend it. There is an unmistakable history of innovation being hindered and outright squashed in this field. Earlier this year, short sellers had their best opportunity they were ever going to have to drive the stock down and scare shareholders into dumping their shares. Maybe Tesla would have to be forced to do another capital raise, and maybe the equity market would have turned them down this time. This is the doomsday scenario that short sellers were salivating over. Instead, investors saw this as the opportunity of a lifetime, handed to them on a silver platter that would most likely never come again. I would argue that all they did was demonstrate that Tesla has reached critical mass, and both consumers and investors have decided that Tesla is here to stay. And even with their trillions of dollars, there's nothing they can do to stop this from happening. Now that Tesla's market cap is larger than Ford and General Motors combined, they pose little threat to them now. However, Tesla is not only disrupting the automotive companies, they are also disrupting the energy sector, and this is where the big players are at. It is the largest sector of the world economy, and if we are going to survive as a species, this sector must be disrupted. And like automobiles, it is not going to happen from within. What are your thoughts on this conspiracy theory? Do you have a theory of your own? Or do you think I've read too much into this and these short sellers are simply investors who are trying to make a profit from the fall of what they simply believe to be a worthless company led by a corrupt individual? That's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe. And like the video if you got any value out of it, and share it with anyone you can think of. This is the best way to support the channel. Now, let's get back to empire building.